Brokerage. I did ask this the other day because we came across this word. What is a brokerage? What does it mean to be a brokerage?
You're like the middleman.
Or a woman,
Middleman or woman, sorry.
or whatever
Whatever.
gender. Yep.
But it bridges the gap between the buyer and the seller.
Hold on. Jennifer says, we have fun in the morning. You just pick on people. I'm a bully. I know. Yet you still joined us and came to work with me. Just saying. Putting it out there. Anyway. So yeah, so middleman or middle person. There you go. That connects two parties to make the deal happen, either a purchase, sale, rental, exchange, whatever. So that's what brokerage means. Now, when it comes to real estate brokerage, obviously it has to do with trade of real estate or real property. The real estate, she says, because I have the best school. You wouldn't be the best school without us. Just saying, right? Jennifer is my morning instructor, and she can't get enough of it. She's even in the evening class. I'm just saying. Anyway, the real estate industry is divided between private and franchise brokerages. Offices that are part of a large franchise, even though it carries a national or international name, usually operate locally to serve a local market. Each real estate professional has a business within the brokerage and must know not only the details of real estate transactions, but also the operation of the business to be successful. Economics and personnel decisions are also part of running the operation, like how many people to hire and what capacity. How do you find qualified candidates? Identifying the competition, which is very important. We cannot run a business without knowing what others are doing. We have to be our own competition, but we also have to know what others are doing. Does that make sense? Okay, so it's not a bad competition, it's a healthy competition if we're on par with what they're doing. Successful real estate professionals must think like business people to answer these questions. So you can either be, as we said, boutique real estate or in independent real estate, like we are in the direction, not we are, like in the direction of realty. Or you could be a franchise, like a Keller Williams or Remax or Weichert and so on, right? But regardless of what you are, usually we work a particular area, as I just read. Okay, so you could be part of a national, international franchise, but you still deal with Jersey, or you still deal with New York or Pennsylvania, whatever. And even within the state, we focus on certain areas. So one office will focus, for instance, this is Newark. Most of our focus will be within a 30 to 45-minute range of Newark, as an example. Does that make sense? So even if you carry a big name, you're still locally focused. That's good. All right. Now, brokerage and real estate license laws. All 50 states require that real estate agents be licensed to conduct real estate activities for others. State laws have a similar purpose, but some details vary from state to state. So when we get to the state portion, we'll go more in detail of what it is for Jersey. Most of the stuff we cover now is generally accepted. Okay. Guys, make sure your cameras are on, please. What is the purpose of license laws? Actually, what is the purpose of licensing anything?
Set a standard.
To set a standard, okay? To make sure you don't do what?
Take advantage.
One of the things is take advantage, absolutely, that you're not dishonest, to prevent fraud. Thank you, Nika. To prevent fraud. So license laws, it's kind of like being a parent and having kids. The kids will do whatever they want to do, but once in a while we need to check in on them and make sure they're not doing something wrong. Does that make sense? So us as individuals, I mean, we know the rules of the house, right? We know the rules, but sometimes as individuals, I cannot vouch for you, and I cannot vouch for you, I cannot vouch for you or any of you at home. But sometimes as individuals, we screw up either on purpose, or we were negligent, or we just didn't know, right? So the license laws exist to prevent certain things from happening. Okay, that does not necessarily mean that you won't do it. Okay? Again, like having kids. You tell them don't do it, and they do it.
Makes everyone feel even more.
Makes them. So we should get rid of these license laws. I know, right? The forbidden fruit is the most desired. That's what it is. The more you prohibit me, the more I want to do it. Thou shalt not steal. I'm going to steal from this client. Yes, you're right. Forget the laws. Why are we even here? All right. By enacting licensing laws, Alexis is laughing here. No, I did it on purpose. Forget it. Alexa. Hey, Jennifer Ramos, did you know there's a lot of people at home with Alexas? And apparently every time I say Alexa, their Alexa replies. All right, so where was I?
You're famous. You're in everybody's home.
That's it, Alexis, you're in everybody's home.
It is Alexa.
It is Alexa.
Yeah, Alexa's it's kind of slow. It doesn't really.
By the way, it's all Shanice's fault because she's the one that said, hey, do you have an Alexis in class? I thought it was something important that she wanted to say, a message. Anyway. Can you just let me know in the chat how many of you have an Alexa? Here I go again.
Just so you know.
Oh, I got a bunch of them over there. I just
Yeah.
want
I have a Google too, but Google sucks. Yeah, it's not Alexa. To be honest. Mine too. I wouldn't buy it.
wow. It's a lot of people that have Alexa in this class. Seriously. Have you ever tried getting an Alexa talking to the other Alexa?
No.
No? Should try.
Is it
I got like 11 over here, so maybe I'll set them off one day.
I had Alexa and Siri talk once.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, it's kind of the same.
All right, so by enacting licensing laws, the public is protected by ensuring standards of competence and professionalism required. The laws accomplish this by establishing basic requirements for obtaining real estate license and requiring continuing education to maintaining. So basic requirements, obviously, this is one of them during the 75 hours. There are other requirements which we'll go over. And of course, every 2 years, you got to do what's called C credits or continuing education in order to maintain your license. And this defines the areas required licensing, describing acceptable standards of conduct and specific practice for licensees. And also, of course, enforcing these standards through disciplinary system. So the Real Estate Commission or organization uses these laws to enforce the profession.
If your license is suspended,
Hmm.
you can get it back for like one state.
If your license is suspended, the word suspended says it's temporarily. If it was revoked, so we're going to talk about that too. They can even revoke your license. Then most likely you cannot get it back. So for you to get to the revoked status, you really screwed up. Yeah. All right. Now these laws don't just regulate the real estate industry, they protect buyers, sellers, tenants, and owners from deceitful or negligent practices, as I was saying. The laws aren't meant to prevent licensees from successfully conducting their business, nor to interfere with legitimate transactions. Unfortunately, laws, as I was saying as well, cannot stop one from being unfair or dishonest, but by establishing a minimum level of education and conduct, these laws provide a set of expected behavior and competency values on which an ethical marketplace can be built. So again, like kids, we tell them what we expect. Like, it's not that it's not for your best interest, it is for your best interest. So whatever you do is on you, but this is what I recommend, right? Same thing here. Each state has a real estate commission, department, division, board, or agency. So they have different names. Here in New Jersey is Real Estate Commission. This entity has the independent power to issue licenses, create real estate rules and information available to licensees and the public, and to enforce the statutory real estate law. So it's an independent organization within the government. Creates its own rules, of course, according to the statutes, right? Creates its own rules, enforces its own rules. So it's like its own court. We don't have to go to court unless it's something extreme. Okay. So each licensing authority has implemented administrative regulations that govern the statutory law and set operating guidelines for licensees. These regulations have the same power and effect as a statute, but if they conflict, the statute prevails. So again, whatever the real estate commission rules are cannot go against a state statute. In the same token, something that's a state statute cannot go against federal laws. Federal law cannot go against Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land, right? So it's the way it goes. Regulation statutes are enforced through fines, license denial, suspension, or even, what's that name right there? Where you were just at. What did you say? Revocation? Did I write it wrong? Do you want coffee? Because that's not revocation.
Okay, I'm sorry, it's just like my fourth language.
Show up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What?
You said it on the first class, you're like, I apologize, guys, English is not my first language. So
In more serious incidents, in more serious incidents, you do want to get licensed, right? Okay. So just saying.
Okay.
In more serious incidents, violators can face actually civil and criminal court actions. Each state's license laws and regulations has a set licensees activity structure, and licensees must know their state's laws and regulations, not only for the licensing exam, which is what you guys are learning now, but also for the practice of real estate legally and successfully. Okay. This is especially true for a licensee with a reciprocal license from another state who may not have taken a special course or exam, and laws vary from state to state. So can you be licensed in more than one state? Yes. Some states have reciprocity. That means that you don't have to take a course there. You might not have to even take an exam, a state exam. You can just go and activate your license. Some states have reciprocity. Jersey does not, in case you're wondering. Jersey says, we are us, or us are we, and we don't care about anybody else. So we don't like them, they don't like us.
Do other places accept Jersey licenses?
Most places do not. It's kind of like during the pandemic. During the pandemic, a lot of countries start blocking the United States. So the United States said, you know what, we're blocking you too. That's it. It became a conflict, and vice versa. It became a conflict. Like if I'm going to do it to you, if you're going to do it to me, I'm going to do it to you. So most of the states do not recognize New Jersey. And New Jersey kind of allows Pennsylvania and New York to get a Jersey license, but you still have to do at least 15 hours of New Jersey course. So just the New Jersey portion at the end. That's it. They still have to do something. Anyway. All right. Real estate brokerage. So brokerage simply means bringing two or more parties together in a transaction. We already covered that. Now, a real estate broker, I highly recommend you mark this. A real estate broker is licensed to buy, sell, exchange, or lease property. We said this on day one as well. On others' behalf, and get legally compensated. Legally compensated. A real estate broker. Notice that it does not talk about anybody else but the broker. Only a real estate broker can get compensated. We're going to say this over and over and over, not only just in this chapter, but also in other chapters, over and over and over. Who can get paid in the real estate transaction?
The broker.
The broker. And not just any broker. We're going to define what a broker is today, because there's two types of brokers. There's a broker, that's the broker responsible for everything, a managing broker, or here in Jersey, we call him broker of record. And then there's the broker salesperson, which is pretty much a salesperson that qualifies to be a broker, but still chooses to operate under another broker. Okay? So which broker is paying you? The managing broker or broker of record. That's it. Okay? He or she is the only person entitled to collect commission in a transaction. Can they split it with you? Because obviously you got to get paid, right? Can they split whatever they receive with you? Yeah, after. So they must receive it and then they give you your proportionate share. Okay. A lot of activity on a Friday night.
Can you become a broker like as soon as you get your real estate license, or it's like a time? frame?
Nope. There's a period of time. I'll talk about that too. That's why I paused. Guys, cameras on. I know it's tough. I know it's Friday. But you made a commitment, right? 60 days. You're gonna do this. 60 days. You're gonna get licensed. All right. So stay with me. Now, oh, by the way, Jennifer and I now have a competition. So our ratios in the evening have to be better than the ratios in the morning. Okay.
Okay, that pass.
Yeah. So 60 days. Unfortunately, she has 90 days because it's only 3 times a week. But in 60 days, I want to have everybody pass. That was the deal, right? Okay. All right. Making sure.
630. I'm counting days.
Just counting the days. Okay. All right. What was that? Oh, if state law allows, a broker may be a client's agent, or the broker and client may choose a different form of representation, which we'll talk about in a different chapter. There are different ways we can represent a client. State licensed brokerage can take many business forms, and it can be a sole proprietorship, corporation, LLC, or partnership. I'm not going to go over what these are because we already covered in the other chapter. I'm sorry, but I'll address it later. The company may be independent or franchise and can even have one or more offices called branches. Okay. A real estate broker may specialize in one kind of transaction, service, or even location. As I was telling you, try to narrow down to a particular location, but it could be also, I could be a seller's specialized brokerage. I could be a relocation specialized brokerage. Does that make sense? I can do only rentals if I want. So we choose what we want to focus on. Some brokerages are known just for commercial real estate. Okay. In addition to understanding the complexities of real estate transactions, a real estate broker must be able to manage the day-to-day operations of a business and formulate effective policies for all aspects of the brokerage operations, such as maintaining and preserving office space and equipment, employing both licensed real estate professionals and unlicensed support personnel, calculating commissions, compensations, and implementing standard office operating procedures for licensees to follow when conducting activities authorized by the state's real estate license laws and regulations. So none of our standards of practice here can go against what the state determines, right? We can always improve on it, but we can never go against it. Relationship between the broker and the sales associates. Although brokerage firms vary in size, very few brokers work alone. There are a few real estate brokerages out there that's just one individual. Don't ask me how, don't ask me why, have no idea. It's what they want. Most brokerages employ other people. Okay, so we have other salespeople to help us out with our business. A sales associate may be a sales associate, that's what they're considered, may be a licensed real estate salesperson or a broker who chooses to work for another broker. Why are they called sales associate? Because all they do is the sales. They don't manage the business and they cannot manage the business. Okay, they handle sales. A real estate salesperson is licensed to perform real estate activities on behalf of a licensed real estate broker. And the employing broker and the salesperson are both subject to an employment agreement. It's an independent contractor agreement, even when the salesperson is an independent contract for tax and other purposes. A salesperson, a sales associate, salesperson, or broker salesperson can only, please mark it down, can only perform duties delegated by the employing broker and be paid by the broker. Okay, so everything we do is on behalf of the broker. Everything we do is on behalf of the broker. So who do we represent? Ourselves, the clients, the brokerage. Okay, so if I'm a Remax agent, who do I represent? Remax. Oh, but I knocked on the door and I got that listing. Yeah, but you represent Remax. Remax represents the listing. Okay, that's how it works. We don't represent the clients. We represent through the agency. So we don't represent them directly. We represent through the agency. And that's why you get paid only by that broker. As a broker's agent, the sales associate cannot sign contracts or accept payments from any other party, and the agency relationship makes the broker liable for sales associate's employment-related actions. This vicarious liability means that the broker assumes and is responsible for every sales associate's conduct while performing brokerage duties. So even though you're independent, because I sponsored you, even though you're independent, you should be liable for your own actions, right? But because I sponsored you, I employed you under my flag, the New Direction flag, right? Then I'm responsible for you. It's called vicarious liability. So as if I was an employer. You're not an employee, but we still call ourselves employing brokers because we hired you for that particular service, the sales service. All right. Now, many states require that all real estate professionals to be licensed as brokers due to the industry complexity and emphasis on consumer rights. And even with increased education requirements, running a real estate brokerage requires a managing or supervising broker. The reason why I have this highlighted versus saying a broker of records is because sometimes we have multiple offices and each office will have a managing broker who is not the broker of record. Okay, I'll explain that in the next slide. So a managing broker or supervising broker obviously manages and supervisors who or what? The brokerages, real estate agents. That's who they supervise. In a small brokerage, the managing broker is the broker under whose license the company was approved by the state. In a company with multiple offices, each branch must have a managing broker. Specific education, so Masha, to answer your question, specific education and experience requirements are needed to become and maintain a broker. So the broker license, I'm sorry. Okay. Some states use different terms for managing brokers, usually simply called broker or broker of record, or even sales associates. Now, when we read, this will be for a state exam here in Jersey. When we read the word broker, if it doesn't say broker dash salesperson, we're always referring to the broker of record. This is the person that we can sue in case the salesperson does something wrong. So from now on, when you see the word broker by itself, who are we talking about? Broker of record, the one responsible for everyone. Okay. Now, a managing broker must supervise a sales associate and cannot delegate office supervision to an unlicensed person. Okay. We'll talk more in detail when we get to the New Jersey portion because it varies from state to state, the laws. But let's say I'm the broker, right? And I want to open a separate office. Can I just put whoever I want there? I can, but now I'm managing the office. Okay, it has to be somebody that's licensed. So now comes the other question. Can I just have a regular salesperson there as a manager or as a supervisor? No, it has to be somebody that's qualified as a broker. Okay, so a broker salesperson could be a manager in that office. A salesperson cannot, because a broker salesperson is somebody that took the broker's course, right? So they know, because part of the course is office management. So they know how to manage the office. Okay, so they become the extension of you. But state law usually allows a temporary transfer to another licensed Broker. All right, employer versus independent contractor. Who can tell me what's the difference between these two? Being an employee or an independent contractor?
You're an independent contractor, you're your own boss.
You are your own boss. Okay. Two people in the chat just answered what I wanted to hear. You are your own boss, but the biggest difference for licensing purposes and for exam purposes, the biggest difference, taxes. The reason why we want to know if you are operating as an employee or operating as an independent contractor is for taxation purposes. Are you W-2? Are you 1099? The IRS is your biggest enemy. Could also be your biggest ally, but it's your biggest enemy. If you are not operating properly, they can shut you down. If you're operating as an employee, but you're independent, they can shut you down. Lewis says you can get a 1099 as an employee too. Can you? How can you get a 1099 as an employee? It's a specific status that says you're operating on your own accord. You make your own hours. You cannot be tied down to a schedule. You make your own deductions. As a 1099, I'm going to talk about this right now. As a 1099, you cannot get health insurance. You're not mandated to be in certain meetings. Like, we cannot force you to anything. You're either again, you're either an employee, or an independent contractor.
I did like an ad campaign for a company and I had to do a 1099 form, but they gave me the schedule. I had to show up at a specific time.
They do. And look, don't get me wrong. I had a business at one point. I had a business where all my employees were 1099. Yeah, all my employees were 1099 until Department of Labor knocks on my door. I was right in the middle of well, not the middle of Ferry Street, but right on Ferry Street here in Newark. So a lot of exposure. It's not like I could hide. Here comes the Department of Labor. Let me hide. I couldn't. Right? They go. They knock on the door. Says, "What's up? Badge, business card. Let's talk." So every single one of them had to fill out a form stating that they do their own hours, that they're not obligated to be there 9 to 5. They're there because they want to.
It happens even out here, in Portugal, it's like the same.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Same thing. It's not supposed to be that way, but practically it's that way.
Yeah. No, but you know what? Back then, when I did that, my partner, my business partner, one of my business partners was an attorney. The funniest thing. He's the one that said, "No, it's good. Don't worry about it." Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
What a great attorney.
I go like, "Oh, this guy makes a ton of money." I go like, "Hey, Sal, not Sal. It's also Salvatore, but not you." I go like, "Hey, Sal, Department of Labor just checked in with us, and we could not be doing what we're doing." And he goes like, "I know." It's like, "But you told me it was okay." I said, "Yeah, until they catch us. Then we just send them a letter and we'll fix everything. Don't worry about it." I'm like, these attorneys. So if I got arrested, now I got a record, and you're saying you just send a letter and that's it? But that's how it was.
Is that like, does the business owner benefit from employees being 1099?
It has to do more with taxation. Yeah, it's like pass through type of thing. And also, I'm not obligated to have to provide health insurance. So even the rules now is like, if you have 5 or more employees, you have to offer health insurance, and if they say yes, you have to provide. So it's a huge mess. But if you keep it under 5 employees, but that's why a lot of doctors they have per diem nurses. This way they're not employees. They can show up every day, but they get paid per day that they show up. Anyway, how did it went? Did you send the letter? I didn't, he did. He's the attorney. Anyway. All right, so here you go. The broker salesperson employment agreement. Yeah, we're gonna go over that, Stephen, right now. Should define their roles, responsibilities, and obligations. And state license laws generally state that the broker is responsible for the actions of the sales associates. The traditional employer-employee relationship. Now, this is true whether the sales associate is an employee or independent contractor for income tax purposes, which affects the broker's legal obligation to pay and withhold sales associates' earnings. In other businesses, employers can control employees, not independent contractors. An employer may require employees to follow rules about working hours. We're in employees, right? About working hours, office routine, sales meetings, sales quotas, and dress codes. If you're an employee, I can put all these limitations or restrictions on you. You have to be here at every meeting. You have to do this. You have to do that, right? State and federal laws, not my laws, state and federal laws require certain employees to pay unemployment taxes on wages paid to one or more employees. Health insurance, profit sharing, and workers' comp may also be offered. Now let's go to independent contractors. Oof. All right, Connie. Hope you feel better or get well soon. All right, independent contractors are treated differently. They have more independence than an employee, as the name says, independent, right? And an employer cannot control their activities as much. Independent contractors pay their own income and social security taxes and receive no employee benefits such as health insurance or paid vacation. We do pay vacation to our employees. I don't know what they're talking about. Alexander says, if you don't have a social, how it works? What do you mean? If you're independent, you don't need a social. If you're an employee, you need a social. Because now they do the whole social security verification online. You cannot work in the United States unless you have a social security. You can be independent. Are you okay there? You can be independent. Another one. Ashley goes like, well, legally.
Yeah, that's one.
Again, you can be a 1099 with a tax ID, right? Or you can open your own business with a tax ID. But you cannot legally work for somebody else and get deductions off the books and stuff. Jennifer, I cannot read your text, your message over here. I'm having difficulty. My contacts are not working that well. All right, Azariah says it's ITIN. Yeah, individual tax identification number or tax ID, as we call it. Okay, in the case of an employee, the payment is weekly and the commissions are separated. So if I hire you as an employee, right, I hire you for specific purposes, it will not be for sales. You can start a sale. So you could be like an inbound sales agent, ISA, and what you're doing is you're taking all the leads, right? But somebody else is closing them. Okay, so there are a few companies that do this. Redfin was a company that was hiring people, and I forgot who was the other one, but they were hiring salespeople on a salary base, but you don't get the full commission. So if we make $15,000 as an example, I'm paying you a salary of $2,000. Let's say you close in 1 month, you take a salary of $2,000. How much you get paid? It's $8,000. What happens to the other $7,000? Goes in my pocket. So, but all that goes in the independent, in the agreement with your broker. Okay. Most brokerages, what they do is hire as independent contractors. Okay. Now, under state law, and as mentioned earlier, the broker must supervise and be liable for the sales associate's actions. The broker sales associate is treated as an employee, even though the employment agreement treats them as independent contractor. Now, very important. And guys, this is very important, not for state exam purposes, but for you to understand why this difference in the taxation. So the IRS, so Internal Revenue Service, issued specific rules to clarify the employer-employee relationship in the real estate office. So these rules, this was 2 years ago, these rules are specific to real estate professionals. Okay, so the Internal Revenue Code was amended to identify who is an independent contractor and who's an employee when it comes to real estate. All right. Under qualified real estate agent category in the Internal Revenue Code, a sales associate must meet 3 requirements for non-employee tax status. The sales associate must have a valid real estate license, obviously, a written contract with the broker stating that the sales associate will not be treated as an employee for federal tax purposes. So the contract has to be specific, saying you're an independent contractor. And a substantial portion of real estate sales associate income must be based on sales production and not hours worked. If I'm paying you per hour, then you're an employee. If I'm paying you per sale, then you're independent contractor or sales associate. Does that make sense? Okay. So a broker requiring floor time is wrong. That's awesome. That's an awesome question. Yeah. So I cannot require floor time, but I can tell you, look, Steven, if you're here doing floor time, so let's say you do from 10 to 1 as an example, all the leads, all the phone calls are yours. I can do that exchange, that incentive. Now, if you make a commitment to be here from 10 to 1 on Tuesday, then you have to be here. If you made the commitment, just like being an independent contractor, if you make a commitment, it's you, it's your job, it's your business, right? Me, I cannot force you not even to show up at trainings. Okay. So yeah, requiring floor time is wrong. Yes. Hmm? Floor time, floor duty is just manning the phones.
Oh.
So somebody stays here for a certain amount of hour, anybody that walks in or any phone calls, you handle it. Again, the good thing about it is that all leads are yours. That's it. You have to have office staff by law? No, I'm not required to. It could be just me, remember? Some agencies are just one person. Could be just me. I don't have to. But I could have a real estate assistant, since you're asking. I could have. Someone has to be there? Me. The one required to be here is me. If I'm the broker of record, I'm the one required to be in the office during normal business hours. That's it. I cannot require you to be here, not even 1 second. You can be here 24 hours if you want, but I cannot require you to do so.
Can incentivize.
I can incentivize if you make the commitment, right? That's it. All right, so you see why this chapter I'm going a little slower than the other ones? Okay. So a real estate assistant, also called personal assistant or professional assistant, can be an office manager, marketer, organizer, and facilitator with real estate industry knowledge. The assistant can work for multiple real estate professionals or for a specific one. Depending on the task delegated, the assistant may need a real estate license. All right. Guys, make sure you're alone, or at least not talking to anybody. Make sure you have your cameras on, please. And I have to see you. Some cameras are like the whole background. I know you guys change the background like I do, but it changes so much that I don't see you, and it's really dark. Come to the light, please. Come to the light. No, I don't see Emily, Elizabeth. I kind of see you. Okay, no problem. Let's see. Like I see your forehead. Shalai, I can barely see. It's really dark around you. Alexander, I see you always talk. He really abandoned us. He was here just for the first day and was like, you know what? I'm going home. That's it. Ashley, far away, but it's really dark in that room. Samaya, I cannot see you at all. Shay, I don't see you. Like it's fuzzy. Now I can see you. All right. Sometimes it's again when you remove that background, guys. When you do the background adjustments from Zoom, sometimes it just takes you away from the image. It gets all blurry. Okay. Elvis, don't see you at all. Like turn on the light, guys. I want to make sure you're not sleeping either. Some of you were in bed the other day, like closing your eyes. All right. I want to go to bed too. I slept 3 hours. Come on, let's go. All right. So depending on the task delegated, you might have to have a license. What happened? You guys are mean. State licensing laws and regulations determine how much real estate assistants can help with transactions, and unlicensed assistants can perform keywords here. If you're unlicensed, you can perform clerical tasks, office management, website development, and maintenance and marketing pieces, but you have to have little to no direct consumer contact. If you're unlicensed, the key is little to no consumer contact. So the people that I have doing my marketing cannot talk to the consumer directly. The people I have answering the phones, all they can do is forward calls. They cannot answer anything regarding real estate. Okay. The people I have doing like anything that doesn't require a license cannot disclose contracts, cannot show houses, they cannot do anything like that. Okay. All they can do is clerical work, as we said here, office management, and so on. The moment you talk to somebody directly and engage in a real estate conversation, you have to be licensed. So a licensed assistant can also prepare and host open houses, as well as assist in all the aspects of a real estate transaction. Now, at this point, you could be a salaried licensed assistant, or maybe you're getting a higher commission or a percentage of all the sales. So sometimes that could happen as well. Let's say I have somebody just answering the phones because Steven doesn't want to come answer the phones, right? He doesn't want leads, doesn't want anything, whatever. It's fine. I already know I cannot count on you, buddy. It's okay. So I'm going to have, just kidding. So I'm going to have somebody else answering the phones that's licensed. But I say, you know what? We just started the company. I don't have enough money to pay a salary. So how about we do this? All the sales that we have quarterly, I'm going to take 5%, and that's going to be your payout. Now, in the beginning, 5% is nothing, right? But in a year from now, 2 years from now, that 5% could be way more than a salary. Does that make sense? So it's an incentive. I cannot pay you now, but because you're licensed, I'll give you a cut out of every sale that happens. It's not a bad deal, is it?
It's a growing business, definitely.
If it's a growing business, absolutely. All right. I was going to offer that to Steven, but he goes like, no, they got to have the staff. But it's true. Look, if you open up a business, you should be prepared for this stuff. Obviously, you're opening up a business, like opening up a restaurant and not having money to buy the meat or the fish or anything like that, right? Or marketing. I see people opening restaurants and they think clients are just going to fly right in. Like a bunch of them are going to you got to market. The key is marketing. Maybe you don't have anybody, but start marketing before you open so you can have some clients as soon as you open the door. Some people open the restaurant and then figure out the rest. Like there's millions of restaurants around. If you're here in Newark, every other corner has a restaurant. What makes yours better than the one next door? Why should I stop going to the one next door and go to yours? Right? So you got to pump the marketing first. So I'm 100% with Steven on that. I was just joking around, obviously. A business that opens up should be prepared for everything. Okay.
Should I advertise myself as a real estate agent now?
See, you're not a business yet, and you cannot. Even though this class is already tax deductible for a business that you don't have yet.
This class is tax deductible.
As soon as you activate your license, you're independent, therefore tax deductible. Your travel time from your house to here, tax deductible, and on the way back too.
Good. Like 40 minutes later.
The meals that you bring your instructor, they're also tax deductible. All right, so Alexander was asking if I didn't even eat yet, I'm just saying. I was messing with one of the morning students. He brings to the class. He did it yesterday, did it today. Brought Dunkin' Donuts for himself. I'm like, dude,
Oh my God,
just for yourself?
I literally on the way here, I was like, "You said that Dunkin'. I'm so bad. I didn't do that." Oh, you did?
At least eat before you walk in. Not like, everybody, how about that's the advantage of being home. You guys can do whatever you want. We don't smell it, so it's not like the appetite, you know.
That's what I'm saying. You guys didn't even want the coffee until you smelled it. Yes.
All right. Would you recommend when starting off as a new realtor to do a salary position? So, Lacey, here's the thing. Glad you brought that up. Unfortunately, it's not up to you. Most brokers, 99.99999% of the brokers do not hire employees, salespeople as employees. All right. So if you find one that does, then you can present that option. Let's say you don't want to work somewhere else. You want to be really immersed into the real estate business, right? So if you find one that does, by all means, go ahead. This way you're already there. You're going through the whole transaction, right? Some people are transaction coordinators. So they learn how the transaction happens in the back end before they go on the field, right? So that could happen, but
Need a license.
no. To be a transaction coordinator, no. Okay. To be somebody that answers phones and answers questions, yes. Okay. So what I was trying to say is, Lacey's asking if in the beginning,
Yeah.
should you be an employee or should you, right? Most agencies do not offer salary position. Okay. But they do offer, and they're supposed to offer training. You have to have training. If you don't have training, then how do you know what to do? Right? Zoraida asking the same thing as Stephen. Why do some brokers ask minimum hours in the office? They can ask, but they cannot demand. That's what we said before. They can ask, they cannot demand you to do certain hours. Now, quite honestly, I have agents, and every agency has this problem. I have agents that don't even show up for training. And then when they have a client, they call us up Sunday night, 11 p.m. I got to put in an offer right now. I'm like, that was Thursday training. You're calling me at 11 p.m. on a Sunday to help you put an offer. We just had that training. As a matter of fact, we always have somebody here at the office that can help you with the offers, but you need to show up. So some agencies, they tell you, you should put a minimum of X amount of hours to work with us to be successful. Can they demand it? No. Okay. They don't have to let you work either. I'm sorry, I did not get that. They don't have to. Could you rephrase that? I'm lost on this one. Oh yeah, he doesn't have to sponsor you or hold your license. Yeah. Yeah, there's no, it's a two-way agreement. Like this is what we would like to have. Some agencies have quotas. You got to make at least 3 sales a year. Okay. Other agencies don't. But again, it's about putting a commitment on you because I don't care. If you don't sell, I don't make money, I don't lose money. That's just how it is. My goal as a broker is to help you make money because if you make money, what happens? I make money.
How many agents are usually like in a brokerage, like average?
How many agents in the brokerage? Last time I pulled the records, there are some mega agencies, but the majority of the non-mega agencies are around 20. They got an average of like 20, 25 people.
And you can't work for more than one brokerage.
No, you cannot. Jefferson, what is a fair contract that you would see now? We're talking about commission split. Because we're gonna get to that in a little bit. Hopefully. All right. So most states have rules about what licensed and unlicensed assistants can or cannot do, or how to be compensated. Sales associates can pay unlicensed personal assistants, but only the broker must pay the licensed ones. Okay. Broker's compensation. Where does the broker compensation come from? From a client. Okay, we have to be hired somehow at some type of capacity, right, in order to get paid. The client contract specifies a broker's compensation. Real estate license law and the state statute of frauds requires a written agreement establishing compensation. Commission is always negotiable and can be a percentage of the gross sales price, flat fee, or even hourly rate. Now, I haven't heard of anybody today, up to date, that actually charges per hour. Okay, unless we're charging for services, which we'll talk about that later. There's a sales service where you get fully involved in the transaction. Then there's the consulting services where, hey, I'm doing I'm going with you to give you my professional opinion in this particular market. I'm doing research on this particular market. Now I'm charging per hour or a flat fee. I'll do a CMA or a comp for $75. I'll do a BPO for $150 or $200. Now we're charging flat fees. Does that make sense? But the majority of the real estate commissions are based on percentages. Now, a broker, both state and federal laws prohibit even subtle attempts to impose or establish uniform commission rates. We'll talk about that more in detail later. But a broker may set the minimum acceptable rates for that firm, and the client may work with another broker if the rate is unacceptable. Like I said, commissions are negotiable. So when I knock on that door and I say, hey, Mr. Seller, I would like the opportunity to sell your home, right? Oh, how much you charge? I charge 20%. And they go like, oh, that's a lot. Can I force them? No. Can they say 20%? No, but I'll pay you 6%. Can I accept it? Sure. Can they say 1%? You can. Do I have to accept it? No, everything's a negotiation, right? So what we can do at the office, let's say I'm the broker of this office right here, all our agents right here. If I'm the broker, I can say, guys, for this month, okay, for the whole month of September, we're going to push. It's going to be a challenge. I want everybody, every single listing that you bring has to yield 7% commission. Within the office, I can do it. So we're going to talk more about that later, or actually probably on Monday, which is monopolies and antitrust laws where we cannot set standard rates. We have to allow the client or customer to negotiate. Okay. We can never go in and say, hey, it's 6% and that's it. No. We have to allow them to negotiate. In fact, all the forms we fill out for a listing clearly state that commission is negotiable. Okay. Nobody ever reads it, but it's there.
The average is 6, like usually.
So it's the word on the street. Let's put it like that. The word on the street is that commission is 6%. Can I hint that? No, I also have that written down. Can I tell a client, hey, the average out there is 6%, so that's what we go for? My fee is 6%. My fee is 7%. My fee is 4%. The moment we start saying that the average commission or what's the common commission out there, then we're saying that's the standard. Got it? That's illegal, and we'll talk about it. Yes.
Would you say when you're starting out, like if you have no experience, you should lower your commission? If you have no references?
If you have no experience, you lower your commission. Depends on where you work.
Okay.
What we train our agents to do is very simple. You don't work alone, so you don't have experience, but your team does. That's it. That's it. We got your back. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Oh, you just got licensed yesterday. I did, but I work with an amazing team that's been doing this for several years. That's why I can charge 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20% if I want to. Does that make sense? So never make yourself feel like, oh, I just got licensed. Let me charge $50 to help him sell this $1 million house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No. Make yourself big. Okay.
Do you have to tell them like how long you've been doing them?
You don't have to, but sometimes they ask how
Yeah,
long you've been
like,
doing
if
it.
they don't ask, I don't have to be like, I just got my license.
It's a don't ask, don't tell. Nobody goes out there and starts flashing, I just got licensed. No.
Okay.
Unless you really want to. There's some people that do it on social media, like, hey, guess who just got licensed? And then they put their license, right?
That's what.
Yeah, I would just say I switched to a different office. I just switched to, yeah, I used to work at the restaurant. I just switched to, you know what I'm saying? Nobody needs to know that before I was washing dishes. All right. Jian is asking, is it different for seller agent and buyer agent? So the commission usually is paid by the seller. So it's the total commission is 6% or whatever. Whatever you pay a buyer's agent is based on your negotiations as well. So let's say I get 6%. Can I offer 2% to the buying agent? Yes. I keep 4%. Can I? Yes. Okay. But you got to know which market you're in. If you're in the buyer's market, you want people to pay attention to your listing, right? So you give out more and you keep less. If you're in the seller's market, oh, you don't care. I'll give you 1%. You know what I'm saying? So you got to know which market you're in, and that's how you do it. Milton, if I'm selling my house by putting a sign outside and a salesperson brings a buyer, who pays the commission? So you're talking about for sale by owner? Who pays the commission? Whoever agrees to pay. Commissions always paid by whoever agrees to pay. And guys, we have the next chapter is going to be on that. So let's just keep going. But we'll talk about more details about commissions, okay? Or interactions and representations with buyers and sellers. Yes, Jefferson, you could. I'll explain that better though a different time because the wording is off, but I don't want to dwell into that right now. Okay. You get full commission, you get paid from both. So I just want to clear it out when we get there. All right. 9:13. A broker from another firm representing one of the parties will affect the broker's compensation. A multiple listing service, or MLS, you probably heard of this already, MLS, provides a marketing opportunity to expose the property to several real estate professionals. The MLS rules set out the terms under which the brokers agree to cooperate, including what Jayan was asking, including that commission split or compensation to whoever brings a buyer. Okay, that will be on the MLS. Now, commission is considered, pay attention to this sentence right here. Lacey, I'll answer that in a second. A commission is considered earned when the work for which the real estate broker was hired has been accomplished. That's earned. Most sales commissions are paid when the seller's deeds is delivered and accepted. So there's a difference between earning and getting paid. When do you earn your commission? At an earlier time. When do you get paid? At a later time. Think of this as your job. We earn commission, we earn our salary as we go. Like I get paid, let's say, $20 an hour. For every hour that I work, I'm earning $20. When do I get paid? A week later. My boss is not like 1 hour, $20. 2 hours, $20. 3 hours, 20, they're not. So you earn it as you accomplish the work, right? But you only get paid later on. In this scenario, it's the same thing. We earn our commission earlier, in fact, when a contract is established. Because our job is to matchmake, right? So when is our job accomplished? When there's a match, and they both agree. We're going to talk about that also. A ready, willing, and able buyer agrees to buy the property. So technically, I've earned my commission. But most contracts are changed and altered to say, hey, I know you earned your commission, but you only get paid when the deed transfers, right? So at closing. Does that make sense? All right. So earning and getting paid are two different things. To be eligible for compensation from a real estate sales transaction, a person must be licensed real estate broker employed by the buyer or seller under a valid contract, and the person responsible for procuring cause, person responsible for generating the sale. When you see this word, procuring cause, you're the one that found the buyer and initiated or caused the sale to happen. That's the only way you can earn commission. Because if it's two agents showing a property to the same client, who is entitled to commission? Okay. Whoever conducted the open house and the person entered. So we got to see the chain of events, right? Whoever placed an advertisement. If the person came because of my advertisement, then that's my client. Making the property listing available on the internet. If the person saw the property because of my advertisement, that's my client. Or showing the house to the buyer directly. Okay. And this is something I got to say. I'll say it a million times. I don't get tired of saying this. Your clients are like your babies. Don't let them cross the street by themselves. Sometimes I see individuals going to open houses. And then they're there. Guess what's going to happen? If you're not there with your client or customer, what's going to happen? They're going to get poached. That means that the person hosting the open house is going to take your client from you. Never let your baby cross the street by him or herself. Okay? Very, very important. Realtors will steal your clients. They already do it even though they know you're representing. Imagine when your baby shows up unattended. Come, baby. Come. Yeah. I got candy. Let's close. All right. So being the procuring cause is very important. Showing that you were the one that caused this transaction to happen. Okay. A broker or sales associate who causes or completes such a course of action without a contract or without a promised payment, being promised a payment, is a volunteer and may not legally claim commission. So like Stephen was saying, if the listing is not signed, he's screwed, right? Yeah. You're a volunteer. If you don't have something in writing that says you owe me 6%, you owe me 10%, you owe me whatever. If you don't have something in writing, you're a volunteer. You're just advertising property for free. You got it? So put it in writing. Now, after a seller accepts an offer from a ready, willing, and able buyer, the real estate agent is entitled to a commission. A ready, willing, and able buyer, is someone who's prepared to move forward with the transaction and accept the seller's terms. If the real estate agent knew that the buyer could not complete the transaction, a court could prevent the agent from receiving commission. Why am I saying this? Because sometimes, even though the transaction did not happen, the agent could get compensated. Okay? So, a real estate broker can still be compensated or entitled to commission if the seller changes his mind and refuses to sell, a spouse refuses to sign the deed, a title, the seller has a title with uncorrected defects, the seller committed fraud regarding the transaction, the seller is unable to deliver possession within a reasonable time frame, the seller insists on terms that are not on the listing, or the seller has a mutual agreement with the buyer to cancel the transaction. Okay, so as a broker, you might still get compensated unless you knew of any of these things. If you're aware of this, now it's considered fraud. You're participating in fraud, so you lose your commission. Are we good? Yeah? All right, cool. Let me go over real quick sales compensation. This is where we're going to end, and I'll address Lacey's question. And then on Monday, we start talking about antitrust laws, price fixing, boycotting, and so on. So sales associate compensation. I got to end on a positive note. How you get paid, right? That's how we're going to end Friday, getting you paid. Sales associate compensation. Brokers and sales associates agree on compensation and could be a fixed salary or usually percentage split from the broker's received commission on a particular transaction. Now, more recently, some firms are offering 100% commission. Yes, you heard it right. They can. I can offer whatever I want. I can say 20% commission, and maybe you still accept. Depends on everything else that I'm offering. Okay. Now, 100% commission plan in which each sales associate pays a monthly service fee or charge to the broker to cover office space, telephone, supervision, and other costs in exchange for keeping 100% of broker compensation. Other companies have graduated commission splits based on sales goals. So a broker may agree to split the broker's commission 50-50 up to $25,000, then 60-40 from $25,000 to $30,000 and so on. So that's a graduated. So congratulations on reaching level 1. Now you're going to go level 2, level 3, and so on. But usually at the end of the year, he resets back to level 1. Some commissions could be a flat 70-30 or even a 90-10. Everything is negotiable. Okay? Everything is negotiable. When you go into a real estate office and they tell you, this is my commission, you can negotiate. You don't have to start at whatever commission they offer you. You can negotiate. All right? Some brokers are set in stone. This is what it is. Well, then you don't have to accept it. It's as simple as that, and vice versa. Zoraida says, my friend just told me the office gives 100%. Yeah, there's plenty of 100% out there. Okay. Guys, make sure you're with me and not with everybody else that's in your room. Yeah. Anyway, Keller Williams was 70-30. So Nadia, Keller Williams has different structures, just like we do. So they have a 70-30, and then you can move up to more or even build a team as well. Yep. All right, let's see here. As previously mentioned, only the employing broker, what is this, like the fourth time that we're saying this? Only the employing broker can pay a sales associate compensation. In a transaction involving two firms, the broker who pays the commission receives the entire commission, and then the cooperating broker receives the agreed upon share. Each broker pays each salesperson who participated in the sale, in the transaction, according to their individual commission splits agreements. Okay. All right, let's see here. I had a question from Lacey I did not address before. It says, do a lot of brokers give you access to an MLS, or is it something that you have to pay out of pocket to access? Most brokerages require you to pay because that's your expense. When you go somewhere else, let's say you decide to leave the agency, the MLS goes with you because it's yours. It's your access, it's your key, it's your everything. Does that make sense? So usually it's on you to pay those fees. Zoraida, when you join, is it set like you sign a contract or can it be different for every sale? When you join, it's one contract that addresses all the sales. Can that contract be changed along the way? Sure. Negotiations again. Okay.
Is MLS like Zillow?
So the MLS is like the Craigslist for realtors, is where we post our listings. Once we post on the MLS, sometimes we publish it to Zillow and Realtor.com and Truly and all that stuff, but it's our option to post it there or not. But MLS, I'm sorry.
Why would you not want those?
Well, it's our option and the client's option. So sometimes it's based on fees. Some MLSs charge extra for that option. Some don't. Sometimes it's based on the client's desire. They don't want it on the public network.
It's like-
Leave it on the MLS so agents can see it. Don't put it on Zillow where everybody can see it. So, Jefferson, who comes up with a commission amount as in if the brokers charge 7%? For the sales commission is 100%. Yeah, your commission, the brokerage commission, I'm sorry, or the gross commission comes from the gross sales. Okay. And then do you represent the buyer or do you represent the seller? If you represent the buyer, then there's, let's say, 3% out of those 6 or 7% there, you get 3%. Out of those 3%, that's where you do the split with your broker. So if you're in 100% brokerage, that 3% is 100% yours. If you're in the 80-20, then you get 80% of that fee. Okay. Lacey, besides office time and doing open houses, what are other better ways to obtain leads? We're still on week 1. You're already trying to get leads? Cannot even advertise yourself yet. But the best ways to obtain leads, me personally, is going to events, participate in the community. That's what I would do. If you drop me in the middle of nowhere, the first thing I'll start doing is start getting known at every cafe, at every restaurant, at every local store. Where are the community events? Start getting known in your area and you won't have to look for leads. The leads will look for you. Okay. It's all about exposure. Okay. And rightful exposure. Okay. So, you know, listen, you want to get famous on TikTok, you know what you got to do, right? Anyway, Michelle, I did not understand your comment. It's just a dash. And Elvis, so New Jersey has 9 MLSs. I have, for instance, GSMLS, NJMLS, I have CJMLS, I have Flex MLS, Bright MLS, and Hudson County MLS. But there's a few more.